Hello, everyone, and welcome to 12 Weeks to Your Next Draft. I am here with a little tip for you to help you build some accountability right into Scrivener. Now, if you don't have Scrivener and you still want to play along, you can do this with a spreadsheet. You know how I love spreadsheets. If you don't, you will learn how I love spreadsheets. But if you have Scrivener, here is a quick and easy way to build your word count goals right into your daily working session. So I'm going to share my screen and here we go. Okay, so here is the Scrivener desktop, and you can see right here my color coding that I've got down the left-hand side. I've got another video about how to do that color coding if you're interested in learning more about using color coding to reinforce structure or to reinforce, in this case, both timeline and point of view changes between chapters. But there's another little trick that I want to show you. And that is the project targets. So you'll see here that I have written 29,056 words so far. You probably saw in my email earlier this week, if you're already playing along in 12 weeks to your next draft, that I moved 10,000 words worth of chapters out before the 12 weeks even started. Anyhow, it's real. You can't unknow once you talk through with your book coach and realize that something that you're trying to do didn't work. Got to get rid of those words now rather than later. Okay, so you will see that I have 88,000 words as the goal for my first draft here. So you could just put in whatever your word count is. In this case, I went for something that is just a little bit higher than the typical 80,000 words for an adult novel that you might see, but I do have multiple timelines and multiple point of views that I think is going to push that out a little bit. So if you're writing, say, middle grade, you're probably going to put something more like 45, 50,000 here. If you're writing YA, maybe 60, 70,000 words. If you're writing in the speculative spaces, those will bump up. If you're writing historical, those will bump up. If you are writing sci-fi fantasy for adults, you might even put up to 100,000 words in. I would just recommend to keep in mind that the paper shortage and the cost of shipping and some other supply chain things that are still falling out from COVID mean that agents and editors are looking for shorter and shorter and shorter novels than they used to. Try to keep that under 100,000 words if you can, if you're planning to query agents or editors, just to avoid disappointment in the query trenches when the time comes. But we're still drafting here, so we're not necessarily planning for that just yet. So here you'll see your session target, and this is going to automatically calculate based on what deadline you put in. And you get to that deadline under options here. You can see I put in New Year's Eve, 12/31/2024 here, because that is when we're wrapping up for this 12 weeks to a nano win. I really want to finish this manuscript before I get to 2025. So go ahead and put in your deadline here, click OK, and then you'll see that it has calculated I need to write 966 words a day in order to achieve that goal of 88,000 words. Now, I'm not going to lie, if I type the end at 86,000 words, I'm still going to celebrate my booty off. I am not going to be like, oh no, I've got to write 2,000 more words. What will I do? If I get to 88,000 in early December and realize this thing's going to take me 95, I'm going to try to get to 95. But this is just something to give me a little reminder when I log in for each session. Now, if you know based on your life schedule that there is no way you're writing 7 days a week, then there are other options that you can put in here too, which include which days of the week you're going to write. So you'll notice I have that 966 words is calculated based on writing Monday through Friday. That is mainly because I have a bunch of weekend travel, going to visit kiddos in college and going to see Joni Mitchell in LA. And some other things. So I am planning on writing Monday through Friday. Now, if you looked at the schedule, you'll see that I have some write-ins scheduled for Saturdays and Sundays too. So on those days, I will be writing. But generally speaking, my goal is to write Monday through Friday, to write those 966 words, and using that method, get to the end by New Year's Eve. So go ahead and select whichever days work for you. If you want to try 7 days a week, you can. I would just say be really realistic, because in truth, you will not probably be able to write 7 days a week unless your life allows for that. If your family situation, your job situation is totally clear so that you can write 7 days a week, I'm really, really happy for you. It's completely fine to say, I've got a busy day job, I'm only going to write on Saturday and Sunday. Or I know that I have Wednesday nights off, and I can write Saturday and Sunday too. Whatever combination of days works for you, be realistic and make a plan that you think you can keep for the next 3 weeks, 3 months, because being realistic and then making an achievable goal is going to help you reach the end faster than if you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to write 7 days a week, and I'm going to write 3,000 words with each session. If you can do that, that's great. But to me, that sounds like the potential for burnout. So be realistic, set your days of writing based on what you actually think you can do, set a target that is reasonable, and don't forget to put that deadline for 12/31 so that hopefully we can all type the end together on New Year's Eve. And then just watch as it calculates for you your word count for each session. It'll tell you down here at the bottom that you've got 61 days left, et cetera, et cetera. I usually just keep this little window open off to the side of my screen so that I can watch this gloriously turn green as I get closer and closer to 966 words. If you too enjoy the gamification of writing, then you might be really motivated by that. If this sounds terrible and like it will make you feel like you're going to give up, don't do it. Again, this is a know yourself thing. I love the gamification. Some people find this really unhelpful. And so your mileage may vary. Only do this if it's helpful to you. You can do the exact same thing in a spreadsheet. You could again put how many writing days you think you have over the next 12 weeks. You could put down how many words you need to write to get to the end, and then do simple division. If you've got 10,000 words to write and you have 10 days in the next 12 weeks that you know you can write, that's 1,000 words a day, and you can do that. So do whatever makes sense to you, and happy writing.